إن الحمد لله تعالى نحمده ونستعين به ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله تعالى فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ونبيه ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. All praise and glory be to Allah. We thank Him and we seek His help and His guidance and His pleasure and His forgiveness. And we turn to Allah seeking protection from the evil whispers within us and the evil consequences of our misdeeds. For whomever Allah guides, this is a great gift that no one can take away. And whomever Allah leaves without guidance, none can guide them. And we testify that no one is worthy of worship but Allah alone without any partners, the true Supreme King. And that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam was indeed, in truth, His Prophet and His servant and His messenger. To begin, we are still in the midst of the beautiful advice of Jibreel alayhi salam to our Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu was salam, in which he said to him in the hadith of Sahl ibn Sa'ad radiallahu anhu, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that Jibreel said to him alayhi salam, كن في الدنيا قال له يا محمد عش ما شئت فإنك ميت. O Muhammad, live whatever length you like, but know that you will ultimately die. وأحبب من شئت فإنك مفارقه, and love whomever you wish, but still know that one day you will be separated from them. You will be pulled apart at the entrance of the grave. And now for today's khutbah, we hear Jibreel alayhi salam saying to our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and to us through him, through the Prophet of God, وَعْمَلْ مَا شِئْتَ فَإِنَّكَ مَجْزِيٌّ بِهِ, and do whatever you wish, know that you will be repaid with it, you will be repaid for it. And so Jibreel alayhi salam was giving him advice, and that advice, each of those statements was built on the statement before it. We said, what is the point of saying live whatever length you like but know that you will die, when we all know that we will die? No, linger on this, because reflection on it is what makes the remembrance of death so impactful, so useful, so fruitful. And then he said, and love whomever you wish. Meaning, don't just think death is just some emotionless event. No, those that you are emotionally attached to, there will be a pull against that. You will be separated from the ones that you love at that moment of death. It's not just the screen turning off. It's not just vanishment into thin air. There's going to actually be a separation. And so this third statement will be an extension of the second. It is built on the statement before it as well. After saying love whomever you wish, you will be separated, you will move away from them. Then he said, alayhi salam, and whatever you do, you will be reunited with it. And so when you are leaving your family, when you are entering into the unknown, when you are being lowered into your grave, it is not just you're being left all alone. You are being reunited with what matters most, what lasts the longest, with those deeds of yours. It's as if Jibreel alayhi salam is evoking, is pulling out of our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that conscious memory, to be mindful of the fact that as soon as you enter this place, when you enter this room, called your grave, you are going to encounter another world. A world, yes, that is so different from the world that you've known. But at the same exact time, it is so familiar. It's yours. It's what you built. Interestingly, even in the hereafter, in Jannah, the Prophet ﷺ used to say, وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ إِنَّ لَأَحَدَهُمْ أَدَلُّ عَلَى بَيْتِهِ فِي الْجَنَّةِ بِمَنْزِلِهِ الَّذِي كَانَ فِي الدُّنْيَا. When one of you gets to Jannah, you will know your houses, you will know your residence, you'll be guided straight to it. You'll know its address, you'll recognize what it looks like, more so than you can recognize your house here. It's yours, you built it. You're just being rejoined with it. And you're going to discover how wise of an investment it was once you arrive at Jannah. May Allah gather us and you there. That's why Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, he spoke about this reunion. We spoke about separation, but now we're speaking about reunion. He said, طُوبَى لِمَنْ تَرَكَ الدُّنْيَا قَبْلَ أَنْ تَتْرُكَهُ وَبَنَى قَبْرَهُ قَبْلَ أَنْ يَدْخُلَهُ وَأَرْضَى رَبَّهُ قَبْلَ أَنْ يَلْقَاهُ. The same concept. It's a two-way street, or it's two things happening, two separate events that actually go hand in hand at the moment of death. He says, congratulations to the person that has the intelligence, that has the guidance, to let go of this world, meaning emotion, more than anything. And before anything, before it lets go of him. Then he says, and furnishes his grave before he enters it. Because if you're going to go to a place that's not ready for you, very unfamiliar, very unprepared, it is a very lonely, very scary, very devastating experience. He says, so glad tidings to the person who lets go of this before it lets go of him, and then furnishes that before he arrives at that, and pleases his Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala before he meets him. And so do whatever you wish, but know that you will come and meet it. This is from the mercy of Allah that He tells you this, because you've been informed, therefore you've been forewarned also. This place that you're going to see is a very, very familiar place, because every last detail of the next world, you designed it yourself. You're the engineer of this world. Allah gave you a blank check and said, write. He gave you a blank canvas and He said, draw. But draw with your deeds. But just because you know what's there, once you get there, don't ever make the mistake of thinking you can imagine how great that world is until you finally arrive. So the kind of things you will see are a direct link with what you've done here. But the size and the magnitude of the things in the grave, even before the hereafter, are beyond imagining. But Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, he presents a very wise exercise to help bring the picture closer for you. Because that's what Jibreel alayhi salam was trying to do. He was giving him one sentence after another to bring the picture closer and closer. The closer it is, the more you're going to benefit. The more you remember death and its details, the more you're going to benefit. Ibn al-Qayyim says, Allah decreed on Banu Adam that you pass through 4 worlds in your existence. At least your physical existence. He says the first world, كَجَنِينَ فِي رَحِمِ أُمِّهِ, as the fetus in the womb of the mother. Extremely tight, you can't move much, you can't move your elbows, you can't move your knees, right? But if you would tell this infant that there's a world outside, a world with so many colors and so many places, and there's things called pizza and things called jungles, and he would not be able to imagine something he hasn't experienced yet. He wouldn't believe you. If you would be able to communicate with a child and tell them, wait till you get out. Unbelievable world. He wouldn't be able to grasp. He'll just know there's a world, but he wouldn't be able to grasp it. He said, and then your second world is your world on top of the earth. And look how humongous it is compared to that tight quarter, that tight room, the belly of the mother. He said, but then you have to move to your third world, your world beneath the earth, the grave. He says, and when you get to that third world, you'll realize that your world on top of the earth, once you get below the earth, was like the womb of the mother. I couldn't even move my elbows. You see doors opening up in your grave.
doors to paradise and doors to the hellfire, and humongous events taking place, and creatures you couldn't imagine ever existed. Once you get there, and 70 years here, 70,000 or 100,000 there, it will make you feel like your entire life in this dunya, with its vast roads and its highways and its airplanes and its oceans, was like the womb of a mother. Nothing. He says, and then you will be moved to your fourth world, when you get pulled out of your grave. And once you get pulled out of your grave, you get pulled out of the earth one more time, you'll realize that even your life in the grave was just a sample.
The example of the hereafter to the grave is like the example of what? Of the life on this world compared to the mother's womb. And so our Prophet ﷺ actually gave us many scenes on what this reunion will look like. Salawatu Rabbi wa salamuhu alayhi. He tells us what it's going to look like when we suddenly realize how big things are and how tiny this world is. What it will look like when clarity finally arrives and we're able to compare and see the value of things. As Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَجَاءَتْ سَكْرَةُ الْمَوْتِ بِالْحَقِّ. The pains of death, when they arrive, they bring with them what? Al-haq, reality arrives. ذَلِكَ مَا كُنْتَ مِنْهُ تَحِيدٌ. This is what you were avoiding. This is the subject that you didn't want to look at. If you don't believe it existing or not wanting to work for it, you want to avoid that subject. Later on in the 2 ayat later, Allah Azza wa Jalla says what? In the same Surah Qaf, لَقَدْ كُنْتَ فِي غَفْلَةٍ مِّنْ هَذَا. You were completely heedless, unattentive to this. فَكَشَفْنَا عَنْكَ غِطَاءَكَ. And only now did we remove the veils. This whole world that you thought was a world, when the curtains are removed, you see the reality of things. فَبَصَرُكَ الْيَوْمَ حَدِيدٌ. Now your eyesight is like hadid, like iron. You have sharp sight now. Now you see straight. When you are repaid with your deeds, do whatever you want, it's going to come. You will know the value of 2 rak'ahs when you meet them in your grave. Our Prophet ﷺ in Hadith Abu Hurairah passed by a grave and he asked the Sahaba, قَبْرُ مَنْ هَذَا? Whose grave is this? قَالُوا فُلَانٍ. They said, this grave so-and-so. His name is not mentioned in the hadith. He said, رَكْعَتَانِ خَفِيفَتَانِ مِمَّا تَحْقِرُونَ وَتَنَفَّلُونَ يزيدهما هذا في عمله أحب إليه من بقية دنياكم. He says 2 light rak'ahs, the kind that's not even obligatory, nafil, and the kind that you may belittle. Say, what can this possibly do? Once you get on the receiving end of it, he says, were he to add them to his deeds right now, where he met his deeds in the grave, were he to add them to his deeds right now, are more beloved to him than all that remains of your dunya. Imagine the joy of all of the newborns and the weddings and the graduations and the touchdowns and the world, all of that joy, all that remains here in the dunya, after he saw the reward of the 2 rak'at, the 2 lightest rak'at, he would be more joy to receive them at that point. You'll realize the value of things. Even our Prophet ﷺ said in another hadith, that when the people of paradise, and you will know whether you are the people of paradise or not by the time you get in your grave. He said, لا يتحسر أهل الجنة على شيء إلا على ساعة مرت بهم لم يذكروا الله تعالى فيها. The people of paradise, once they know they're people of paradise, they meet their reward, they will not regret anything except the moments that passed in their lives when they were not mindful, remembering of Allah in them. And the other kinds of deeds as well are true. You will know how drastically, how dangerous, how severe they were. In another hadith in Bukhari and Muslim, Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, he said that our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam passed by 2 graves, and he said, إنهما يعذبان وما يعذبان في كبير وإنه لكبير أما أحدهما فكان لا يستتر من بوله وأما الآخر
فكان يمشي في الناس بالنميمة أو يؤذي الناس بلسانه في رواية. He said, these two are being punished, meaning right now in the grave, when they met their deeds. Do what you do, you will meet it. As soon as they met their deeds, these two found out that they were being punished, and they are not being punished, he said, about something big. But it certainly is something big. Meaning when they got there, they realized how big it is. Or some scholars said it is not something big, meaning it would not have been so big for you to avoid these crimes, these sins, these acts of disobedience. He said one of them, he was not keeping himself pure. He was not keeping himself pure from his own urine. You think it's no big deal. A few drops of urine, you go pray. Or it would not have been a big deal just to wait 10 more seconds. وَإِنَّهُ لَكَبِيرٌ. It's not big in your eyes, it is a big deal of the end result of it, at the consequence when you meet it. He said he used to not keep himself from being soiled by his own urine. And the point, by the way, here is not to become obsessive compulsive and have waswasa and things like this, but 10 seconds to make sure you're done urinating. It's not a big deal to miss a play in the game or to miss a minute of work, but it would be a very big deal once you meet your grave if this is one of your deeds. He said the other one used to spread gossip between the people. You heard what they said, you heard what he said, you heard what she said. They think it's no big deal. The tongue is a very light muscle with no bones inside. You can just flap away as much as you like. You think it's no big deal. But it is in fact a big deal. Or we can say it really was no big deal for you to stay away from it. Because it is a big deal when you get punished for it. Reality will set in. اعمل ما شئت فإنك مجزي به. Do whatever you wish, it will come back for you. And he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, to add yet another scene, he said, I saw a man being whipped in his grave until he fell unconscious. Until he said out to those that whipped him, عَلَامَ جَلَدْتُمُونِي, why are you punishing me? And it was said to him, كُنْتَ تُصَلِّي بِغَيْرِ طَهَارَةٍ, you were praying without purifying yourself. And he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, وَمَرَرْتَ بِمَظْلُومٍ فَلَمْ تَنْصُرْهُ, you came across someone that was oppressed and you didn't defend them. You thought it was no big deal. You could just be complacent, turn a blind eye, fast forward, scroll down. But there was something you could have done to protect this person, to defend this person, to support this person, and you thought it was no big deal. And so you were on the receiving end when you met it in the grave. And there are so many scenes like this. The Prophet ﷺ in a hadith, perhaps we defer for a later time, he mentioned certain scenes that every time he saw them, he asked Jibreel and Mikael, what is this scene you're showing me? This dream that Allah inspired him with so he can tell us about it. People being punished in many different ways. He said, I saw a man swimming in a river, keddam, like blood, a red river, as if it's a river of blood. And every time he came to the shati, every time he swam back to the shore, there was a man on the shore, يُلْقِمُهُ الْحِجَارَةِ, he would throw stones at him, in his mouth. They would land in his mouth and cause him to turn around and swim away from the shore. And later he said, oh Jibreel, oh Mikael, what was this man? They said, this man who you saw going through this, كَانَ آكِلُ الرِّبَى. This was the person who consumed interest, who dealt in interest, riba. Red, look, he met his deeds. Red is like gold. Gold is red. So the river that he was drowning in is representative of the money that he couldn't run away from now. You wanted to keep adding to your money fast, without any risk on the investment, just give money and get back that and more. Now you will not be able to climb out of that treasure. And every time he wants to come out, he'll be chased back into the river. Go back to your money. And he said, I found a man standing over him, a man that was blind, deaf and dumb. He couldn't hear you screaming, couldn't see what's going, he couldn't respond to you. And he would smash another man's head with a stone that would trickle down, that would roll away. When he would grab the stone again, he would come back, فَإِذَا رَأْسُهُ أُعِيدَتْ كَمَا كَانَ, his head comes back to its full shape. And so he smashes it again. And he said, what is this? And they told him, get out of here, get out of here. They told the Prophet ﷺ. At the end of the hadith, he said, that man, كَانَ الرَّجُلْ يَأْخُذُ الْقُرْآنَ فَيَرْفُضُ. فإنه الرجل يأخذ القرآن فيرفضه. This was a man who was given the Quran and rejected it. The scholar said he met his deeds. Allah gave him the greatest gift, the most honorable gift, and he rejected it. And so Allah destroyed his most honorable organ, his head, until the day of judgment. وَكَانَ يَنَامُ عَنْ الصَّلَاةِ الْمَكْتُوبَةِ, and he used to sleep through the obligatory prayers. He met it in his grave. We said the head is representative of sleep. Sleep is known from the head. We say sleepy head even, right? And so his head was being crushed because he met his deed. He slept through the prayers until their times expired. وَاعْمَلْ مَا شِئْتَ فَإِنَّكَ مَجْزِيٌّ بِهِ. Do whatever you wish. Know that you will come to meet it. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم. الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ونبيه ورسوله. And to ensure we have the best reunion with our deeds when we meet them, what is it that will guarantee us a good reception in our graves? At that moment of repayment, the moment of jaza. Of course, the first and greatest thing is the tawheed of Allah Azza wa Jal, to live your life singling Him out in belief and in practice. The second thing after tawheed, we say is tawbah. Tawbah is to reform, to fix all the things that would get you to receive an awful reception in the grave. Every night before you go to sleep, as you say, as the Prophet ﷺ taught you, فَإِنْ أَمْسَكْتَ نَفْسِي فَارْحَمْهَا. If you're going to hold my soul tonight, O Allah, then have mercy on it. This is a great reminder. You don't need to go far for reminders. And then when you wake up in the morning, you say, Alhamdulillah, الَّذِي رَدَّ عَلَيَّ رُوحِي. Praise be to Allah who returned my soul to me. We die every night and day. And we awaken again. And one day we will awaken to the day of judgment. And so as you're going to sleep, as you're thinking about this miniature death, make it a time for what have I done? How have I improved? How have I backtracked? What could jeopardize my standing with Allah if I die tonight? Ibn al-Qayyim says that way, if you die that night, you die forgiven. And if you wake up in the morning, you wake up excited about another opportunity to make up for lost time. So this is the second, to erase your past with tawbah, tawheed and tawbah. And then good deeds, of course. Our Prophet ﷺ, we only have 2 minutes left for the khutbah. He said that when a person is buried, his family walks away from him. The hadith we covered. حَتَّى إِنَّهُ لَا يَسْمَعَ قَرْعَ نِعَالِهِ. You can even hear their footsteps. Then he said, فَإِنْ كَانَ مُؤْمِنًا أُتِيَ بِالصَّلَاةِ فَجُعِلَتْ عِنْدَ رَأْسِهِ. If he's a believer, believers do good. If he's a believer, salah is placed at his head. And zakah is placed at his right hand. Fasting is placed at his right, and zakah is placed at his left. And being kind and good to the creation and serving them is placed at his feet. And so the punishment comes from on top, and salah itself says, you're going to meet your deeds. They're going to materialize. They're going to be speaking. The deed, the salah will say, مَا قِبَلِ مَدْخَلٍ. There's no entrance here. You're not getting in through me. And so the punishment will come to his right, and the soul, and then his left, the zakah. They will say, مَا قِبَلِ مَدْخَلٍ. There's no entrances here. You're not getting in through me. And from the feet, still no entrance. There's no loopholing this defense mechanism of good deeds. ثُمَّ يُقْعَدْ. The Prophet ﷺ says, and then he's made to sit up, and he will see as if the sun is setting. And if you're a believer and the sun's about to set, you can't remember you made asr, you're going to want to pray. So they will tell him, who is this man, Muhammad? He will not hear them. He will say, دَعُونِي أُصَلِّي. I got to pray. Let me pray. I need to pray. And they tell him, إِنَّكَ سَتَفْعَلْ. You're going to pray. Relax. You'll pray. Who's this man? He said, Rasulullah جَاءَنَا بِالْحَقِّ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. This is the messenger of God. We believe in everything he brought. And so it will be said to him, عَلَيْهَا حَيِيتْ. You lived on that. وَعَلَيْهَا مِتْ. And upon that you died. And with that you will meet Allah. Insha'Allah. وَعَلَيْهَا تُبْعَثُ إِنشَاءَ. And then a door is opened for Jannah and he sees it. And a door is opened to the fire and he sees it. And it is said to him, this is yours, and this is your alternative seat, this would have been yours. So both of those increase him in joy. And then he is turned to dust, his body. And Allah holds his soul in a bird flying around in Jannah until the Day of Judgment. And then he gave us an opposite scene, alayhi salatu wasalam, may Allah Azza wa Jalla protect us and you from it. And he told us, alayhi salatu wasalam, in yet another hadith, that there is a surah of 30 ayat that kept by its companion until وَقَتْهُ مِنْ عَذَابِ الْقَبْرِ, until it protected him from the punishment of the grave. And that is Surah Al-Mulk, تَبَارَكَ الَّذِي بِيَدِهِ الْمُلْكِ. So these are of the ways for you to rejoice when you remember that the khatib or one time said, وَعْمَلْ مَا شِئْتَ فَإِنَّكَ مَجْزِيٌّ بِهِ. Do whatever you wish, know that you will come and meet it. May Allah make our meeting with our deeds a joyous meeting, a meeting that reassures us, a meeting that makes us so happy that we didn't hold anything back. اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها زكها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها اللهم اغفر لنا هزلنا وجدنا وخطأنا وعمدنا وكل ذلك عندنا اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم وارحم الأموات اللهم انصر الإسلام وأعز المسلمين اللهم انصر المسلمين في الشام والعراق وفي القدس يا رب العالمين اللهم انصر المستضعفين في مشارق الأرض ومغاربها اللهم صل وسلم وزد وبارك على عبدك ونبيك محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.